Massively important model for Hattons, I imagine.
Yes.
It's got an incredible amount of detail on it. We're going to show you some of that later on. We're going to be talking all about this. But obviously a key part of this is going to be the Q&A, and we're going to be asking Dave all sorts of questions. I've got lots. You guys have already sent in loads and loads. I've got all of them down here, or lots of them, so we're going to be giving Dave a little bit of a grill later on as things go by. If you've got any burning questions that you haven't already asked and you'd like to, do save them, and as soon as I get over onto the chat, we will start taking some of those. Shall we take a look, see how everybody is in the chat, see if anyone's here. Smugface24 says, nice. George Young, hello to you. Or Laserjet's here. He says, well, I better go, Sam. I'm live in 26 minutes. Okay, good luck. Owens Railway seems to like it. Very nice. Sam, what's the price? We're going to get onto all that sort of stuff later on, but that's a good question. Keep that in mind and post it again later if you like. This makes a change, having two people on the channel, says Stephen Hill. Yes, it certainly does. And I think it's quite good.
Yeah, it's nice.
Do it more often. Alright, cool. What's this? Sam, I hope you asked Dave my Facebook question. Mark, I seem to remember your question was a bit silly, so maybe we'll be leaving that one out, but we'll see. Right, so we've got a little bit of history for you now on the Class 66. If you're experts on the 66, we do apologise, but we've got a little bit of fiddling around to do back here while that plays, so enjoy it, and then when we come back, I'm going to be asking Dave some questions, and you can have your questions ready. So, here we go. So, during the late 1990s, the newly formed EWS owned lots of ageing stock, the Class 47s for example, and they were basically proving to be far too expensive to run and maintain. Because of this, the EWS placed a famously vast order with EMD, which stands for Electromotive Diesel, of 250 units of what would later become the Class 66. These were visually very similar to an early design called the Class 59, but they featured a much more modern internal design. The first engine arrived in the UK during the June of 1998, and about 11 more were delivered every month until the order was completed in 2001. They famously worked perfectly well on arrival. They were simply uncovered, fueled up, and off they went, straight into service. There are several operators within Europe that currently own and utilise the class. These include Freightliner, GB Rail Freight, and DB Cargo UK. And of course it's this that gave rise to the vast range of different liveries out there, many of which of course Hattons will be covering. In total, 455 of the class have been produced, the last being in 2015. Having proved to be an overall success, many remain in service today in the UK and also elsewhere in Europe. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you already know about the 66s, we do apologise. Okay, so there's all sorts of questions for Dave. Obviously, it's quite early days in the state of the model, so we're going to be, well, Dave's going to be doing his best to answer them. So have them ready. I'm going to ask some of mine first, and then we're going to get through the ones that we had on Facebook, Twitter, and whatnot, and then you guys will have a chance to ask them if you want to. So. The first one then is quite an interesting one. So Britain has obviously seen countless different diesel designs over the years. Was there something special about the Class 66, or really what was it about the 66 that made it the right choice for the first Hattons 00 diesel?
Well, obviously, if you're modelling modern image, with them being the most numerous class out at the moment, it's definitely something that you need to have in your layout. And we were looking, and there's been quite a lot of new variations over the last couple of years with them rushing to get the ones out before the emissions laws changed, so there was quite a few detailed differences in them, and there's a lot more liveries that have been released recently, so we just thought it was about time for a new model, and we've looked into it and gone, yeah, that is a perfect one to go for, with all the extras we could add to it as well to make it a fantastic model.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Obviously though, there are quite a number of other 66 models in the market in 00 gauge right now. Obviously I've shown one or two of them on the channel. When the Hattons version comes out, what will it be about that people might want to consider for the Hattons version?
We got things we discussed already, like the axle boxes rotating, and that's one of the major things. But there's a lot of other things in it. It's got independent lighting, so when you put it onto DCC, there will be the ability to completely configure the lights as you want them. Cool. Especially with our sound chip.
Yeah.
There's also on analog we've put switches underneath so you can control the light in there. So we've not just thought about DCC users, analog users as well can turn from day to night headlights.
Okay, yeah.
You can have your tail light switching off, your cab light switching off, things like that. There's also a massive amount of detail on there. We've tried to get absolutely every single pipe and everything underneath on the underframes modelled, as well as having all the detail differences. It's just the most complete model that we've ever come across, of a complete class.
Yeah, it's very cool. And you've also announced quite a huge, incredible range of different liveries and variations and things. I was just wondering, really, are there any others that we might see, or are there even any left to still model?
There are still some left. There's another one coming out very soon from GBRF. I know what that is, but I'm sworn to secrecy, unfortunately.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting.
And then there's still a couple, like the new Freightliner one that's just come out that's still to be done. But yeah, there's still quite a lot of things that we can do with it, other than what the 32 we've announced already.
So they're not sport for choice. We are sport for choice. So
well, yeah, it is a bit sport for choice.
It's not really a problem that you haven't got enough or anything like that. Okay, so the previous 00 gauge locomotives have been the P-Class and the Barclay. Clearly, the 66 is a massive jump from there. It's totally different. Was there any particular difficulty in jumping from something so different, or was there any challenge in that?
If anything, it was a bit easier with the 66, because obviously with the P-Class, there's quite a few of them preserved. So we could go and have a look at them and measure them up and things. With the Barclays, there's some preserves so we can measure them up, but with the Ps, there was plenty of drawings about that we could get access to. Whereas with the Andrew Barclays, we're working from like one drawing, because they're all stored away in archives that are quite difficult to get access to. Whereas with the 66, because they're constantly running in the UK at the moment, people have to have the drawings and everything for them.
Right.
We've been able to have a good access to them, and there's loads of them we can go and measure up at any time. Cool. You can go up to one and put a ruler to it almost anywhere, sort of thing.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to develop that sort of thing, and it's just a lot. It's a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? A lot more standard. There's a lot more standardisation between them, even though there's a lot of them, and there are a lot of detailed differences. Yeah. You don't get the same as where with the steam locos, especially the Andrew Barclays, a certain place would have a certain use for a locomotive, and they would modify it for that. So choosing your locos is a lot more difficult. With the 66s, you get livery differences, but the overall shape and things that are on them is a lot simpler, even though there are still a few lot of differences between them.
That's true. I mean, to be honest, because when I reviewed the Barclay, I remember I looked online just to get 30 seconds worth of information, and the amount of, the sheer lack of information online for the Barclays was made it difficult for me to get 30 seconds of video together. For you to have created the entire model must have been an absolute nightmare.
Oh,
so definitely big hats off to that. Right, so let's get to some of these questions from other people then. There's lots to go through, so I do apologise in advance.
It's
and,
all right.
Let's enjoy the grilling. So, we've got Dominic Dinosaur says, might we see the Class 66 adapted into scales other than 00 in the future?
Not saying no, never say never sort of thing, but we've done it in the past with the Warwells. We had the Warwells in 00 and we've done them in O gauge as well. Again, we've never done N gauge. It's not something that we've said we'll never do. It's just we've not found the right project at the moment. At the moment, we've got no plans to move it into any other gauges, but that's not to say that won't change in the future.
Cool.
If we recognise that there's a market in either N gauge or O gauge for them, it's something that we could look at. But at the moment, nothing on the drawing board, shall we say.
And so, if you decided, for example, to model an O-gauge version of this, is it reasonably easy to do? Is it just a case of blowing it up, or is it a little bit more involved?
It's not quite as simple as just saying, right, times that drawing by such and such a dimension and everything will come good. Because if you imagine scaling up exactly a double O gauge model into O gauge, a lot of the details on it would be oversized.
Of course,
and the same if you went down to N gauge, a lot of the details you wouldn't be able to reproduce because they'd be too small. So it's a case of taking your research that you've got and reapplying it to a new model, which is easier when you've done it once. So that's an aid, but in the actual creating the model, it's starting from scratch again.
Right, so it's a compromise really then to get all that detail on there and have it looking right, but practically decent as well. Right, so this is a bit of a personal one, but there's quite a few people that wanted to know this. So we've got Camille's Model Railway and Dudley Central just wanted to know, what is your favourite livery for the Class 66?
It's got to be the BR Blue large logo, Class 66.
Yes.
It's a bit of a controversial, bit of a Marmite choice for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
So there's a few people that say, oh, it shouldn't be in it, it's not right, it's an old livery and things like that, but my view is it's still working. If they want to put it in that livery, to me it's still a valid livery, and I like BR Blue anyway. So that's probably my favourite livery of all of them.
I'll have to see if there's any angry people in the chat after that revelation. Shall we? Right, so GWR5764 says he's seen a figure inside the cab, which I think was in one of the photos. Is that included with the model, or is that going to be bought separately?
No, that was something that was put in without our knowledge, unfortunately. That if you have a look at this, if you have a look at this version of the 66 that I've done in the actual cab itself, then I've taken the drivers out. They'll be delivered without drivers. We are working with Model U though. to create 3D printed drivers, exactly the same as we did with the Andrew Barclay and the Ps.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
when we
yeah.
have a look at the body shells, I'll show you how easy it will be to fit them. It's a case of popping the body shell off, so it'll be nice and easy to fit your own drivers. But we wanted to do something customised to the 66 rather than just some generic drivers.
Okay, that's cool. So we've got a question now from the Flying Scotsman fan 4472. He seems a little concerned, let's say. He's just asking, is there a set number of models to be produced, or are they likely to be available indefinitely, or is it something that you're going to have to rush to order?
Unfortunately, we can't make them indefinitely. Obviously, you've got to factor in production runs with the factories and the actual cost of producing. And it would just be, if you're trying to run something off like that, it would just be financially inviable, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
But we would never have a situation where we would produce them and they would run out straight away as soon as they come in for delivery. Yeah. We try and keep things in for a good few months after they've been delivered. So there's nothing saying we're going to have it and that you have to pre-order because they won't be available after that. We never do that. There will be, if you're having to save up for one or something, there should be definitely some available after they've been delivered.
Right. Well, there's plenty of the steamers, isn't there? Plenty of Barclays and such. So I think generally the advice is, I would say, if it's something you want and you're planning to get one, there's not going to be any major rush. You should be able to pick one up. That's hopefully the hope anyway. Right. Will Hatton's be the only retailer, says I Like Transport, or will they be able to pick them up anywhere else?
No, we are the only retailer for these. So yeah, if you want to order them, you've got to go to our website, or you can phone us up or come into the store, and they'll be available to pre-order through all those. And then when they're out, you can come in and collect one from the store or have it mail ordered to you.
That's cool. I Like Transport says, is the model designed with maintenance in mind? Quite an interesting one. Is it going to be easy to remove the body and access for servicing and that sort of thing?
Yeah, very easy. It's just a clip-off body shell, so there's no screws or anything, so it's very easy to get the body shell off. And then once the body shell's off, you'll have access to the motor, the gear towers, everything like that, so it's easy to lubricate, and as I said, get to the cabin, change the driver over and things like that. So yeah, it's been, whenever we design a new model, we always think of maintenance in mind, because the last thing you want is getting a new model, running it for a bit, and then thinking, I better give it an oil, and having to have a doctorate in screws to try and work out how to open it up.
Certain models come to mind quite nicely. Right, so Shake Shaft, but videography says, will the model come with a detail pack, or will everything be pre-fitted?
On the front of the model, there's not actually that much that would be separate anyway. There's two pipes. The EWS versions have an automatic coupler that's on it, and then there is the coupling itself, the sort of three-link screw coupling.
Okay.
They'll be pre-fitted to the model. The model will have two different ends when it's been delivered. One of them will be the full one, as you see on the real locomotive, and one of them will have the hole for the coupling cut out.
I like that.
But it will also come with two more of those, one of each kind. So if you want to display it with just the as it should be in real life, then you can do that. Or you can swap it for the two coupling ones if you want a coupling at each end, and it's literally just unclip the body shell, two screws off there, and they'll slide off. Put the new ones on, screw them back in, dead easy.
Man, so this has clearly been really, really well thought through.
Yeah.
This is not something thrown together, it sounds like. Right, so this is probably my favourite question actually. So well done Intercity 125125. I really, really like the idea of this. He says, would Hattons consider releasing any train packs with the Class 66 or any of the exclusive rolling stock that you've got?
It's something we've looked at, not necessarily with the 66 yet, but we have looked at it with the Andrew Barclays and the Ps with some of our stuff we've been selling, and it's something we definitely considered, and it's something that's on the drawing board at the moment. So keep sort of watch this space, especially with the fact that we're going to have the RHTTs and FEAs in very soon. Yeah. We've got the Beal hacks in already. They're all things that run very nicely with the 66.
Absolutely.
So it's something that we're definitely looking into be able to offer packs with the locos and the wagons to run together.
That'll be awesome. I'll be rooting for that, definitely. That'll be great. Okay, so Dylan L asks a question. I get this quite a lot in the comment section, so it'd be quite nice to get it from the horse's mouth. So will the 66s or any other Hatton's models be available worldwide or just in the UK?
No, all our stuff's available worldwide. So if you go onto our website, if you are abroad, and you'll be able to add the things to your cart that you want to order, go through the checkout page, choose your country, and then it'll give you all the delivery options. We usually offer a couple of different delivery options depending on where you are, with different speeds of delivery. So yeah, just go onto the website and you'll be able to order from there.
Yeah.
It's literally worldwide.
Yeah, that's true for most products as well. Isn't
It's
it?
everything we sell. We can. There's I think a couple of paints that we can't sell due to the shipping. But other than that, yeah, these 66s are no problem.
That's great. Okay, so Ned B wants to know, it's quite an important question, I guess. He says, what's the estimated release date for the 66, and I suppose more importantly, when's the best time to order, would you say?
The estimated, well, it's fairly firm release date for these will be March 2019, and the best time to order is now, anytime. They're all available to pre-order on our website. It's hattons.co.uk/66. And so, yeah, get on there, and all the versions are there to be able to pre-order. And put your pre-order in. We don't take any money straight away. It's only ever charged at the time of arrival, so it'll give you time to save up if you need to. Yeah. So for anyone waiting for more liveries, there's none coming right now, so they might as well go ahead. That's your choice for the time being.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so final one for the list, and then we'll get to the chat. So if you want to start sending your questions now, we'll get to those straight away. Josh H says, will there be extra names and numbers for sale separately?
Not from us, no. We're producing just the names and numbers you see on the lists and everything, but there will be names and numbers that are available from other people. There's some etched name suppliers and transfer suppliers that will do other names and numbers for them, but that's not something we'll be offering for the time being. But
there's scope for that, isn't there? If people really want that. Right, let's see what people have got in terms of questions. And now, obviously, if there's something Dave can't answer, we'll have to respect that, because there are things that can't be said out loud. Even I'm not allowed to know some of these things. So we'll have a look. Right, let's see. Can you see anything you fancy? Liveries available. 32 liveries available on Hattons, but no Continental, Europe or German livery. Ooh,
unfortunately not. The reason for no European liveries is that the European versions actually have a lot of differences compared to the British ones. For a start, the light clusters are a lot different. If you look, GBRF had some that they brought over from Europe because they couldn't have any more produced over in Canada. They've had to do a lot of work to make them British safe. To run for our standards, so they've had to change the lights. They've had to take off. A lot of them have like air conditioning units because the loading gauge is larger. They can put things like that on. So there's a lot of differences, unfortunately, that would mean that we'd have to have even more body shells than we've got now.
But good question though. That was Norbert Roll. Thank you very much for that. Steam Fanatic says, Dave, what's your favourite model you have made with your company?
Favourite model I've made with my company? To date that we've made, it would probably be the 28, class 28, the Kobo, because I'm involved in the real thing at these lengths, and so I've got sort of a dual interest in that one. And with it being there's only one surviving and things, it's just nice to be able to produce something like that. But yeah, that's probably my favourite of all.
So Asher Husky is asking, what's the performance like with the Class 66 out of the box? Basically, I guess we don't know what it's going to be like out of the box. We hope it's good, but we're going to be showing you how the sample runs in just a second, so hold on for that. James Pilbeam, quite an interesting question. On the models that have etched nameplates, on the models that come with nameplates, will they be etched ones?
Yep, there'll be etched nameplates and they'll be pre-fitted to the model, so that you don't have to do anything, because we've had a lot of discussion about having printed nameplates that you put an etch over, just printed nameplates or just etches, and we've gone with the just etches, so they're pre-fitted, so you don't have to do anything. It'll literally be straight out the box onto the layout.
That's great. That's cool. Right, so here's one for the DCC sound users. Trainline 5000, he says, is the sound decoder going to feature new sounds recorded specifically for the model?
Yep, it will feature brand new sounds. We recorded them about 3 weeks ago with Colas Rail down in Shrewsbury. There is a video on our YouTube channel, on the Hattons YouTube channel, showing some of the things that we did during the recording, and the local we've got now actually has our DCC sounds, the first draft of them, so there's only a couple of sounds on it. We've got a little bit of a video to show you with the sounds on that, but yeah, there'll be completely new sounds recorded by Lego Man Biffo, or Ian Bishop. He's doing all the mastering for us, so we're working very closely with him, and it's not just the sounds that'll be new, there'll be a lot of new features, and it'll be on the new version of the Lock Sound chip, so there's a lot more you can do with it. So it'll be fairly groundbreaking with the sounds as well. Yes,
and we've got a little taster for that later on, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. Right, Callum, SDGR7F88, a slightly naughty question here, so you'll have to say what you can. Are there any other Hattons projects in the pipeline? It's a very broad question.
Yes.
We won't ask him to elaborate on that one, I don't think. So will it be available with sound fitted? Says C. Zervid Acos. I guess that answers your question as well.
Yeah.
Any more? Norbert Roll says the estimated price is 155 GBP. Is that about right?
It's
more or less?
the price is £150 for the standard versions.
Okay.
DCC fitted, that's just a standard DCC, is 165, and DCC sound fitted is 265. But they'll come with everything on board, the sound ones, so don't have to do anything.
Cool. Daniel Hillybrandt, technical question for you.
Okay.
See how you get on. He says, will the DCC sound versions have active braking as on Zemo decoders?
There is a new feature on these ones where there'll be a function for braking. So when you take the power off, the locomotive will coast, and then you'll be able to press a function to slow it down as a simulated braking.
Cool. That's cool. Right. Well, thank you very much for the questions. Shall we do a little bit more of that later on if people have got more burning questions? So don't worry if we haven't gotten to your questions yet. We will have a little bit of time later on, no doubt, for some more. So let's have a look then, shall we? Shall we do a little bit of running? Shall we get her onto the track and see how she goes? So I know people are desperate to see this. Obviously, this is just a sample, and it's hand finished too as well, so don't expect it to look exactly like this. But I think you're pretty pleased, aren't you?
Oh, definitely.
With the way this one runs. So, shall we get cracking on that? So we've got the loco there. You can't actually see what she's hauling, but we've got a bit of a surprise on that. And just before we get it going, will anybody just check the sound? Were we out of sync at all there? Let us know in the chat and I will fix it if we were. Okay, for now then, Dave, do you want to take it away and we'll see how this runs?
Yeah.
Now this version does have a sort of rudimentary sound system into it, doesn't it?
Right.
But it's going to be updated and improved for the actual release. But we will play you some of those sounds in just a minute or two. But for now we thought we'd just let you see how it runs. Now obviously we can't record the sound from it too well, but you'll have to take our words for it that it is utterly silent. I mean, you know, we've got some decent runners here that I've shown on the channel, but this one, all you can hear is the wheels clicking over the joints in the track. You wouldn't believe there was a motor inside it. It's that quiet. Let's see if we can get it going round. No, it was perfect in City 125, 125. Well, I'm pleased about that. So there it goes. Do you want to say a few words about the sort of rolling stock, just in case anybody's interested? I'm not particularly familiar with this stuff.
Yeah, these are Freightliner MJA wagons. So they are dual wagons. They go around in permanently coupled sets of two. So we've got 5 sets on this rake here. They're made by Dapol, available to buy now off the website. And they're used for stone and scrap traffic in real life. So they're Freightliner heavy haul. So there'll be lots of them used by 66s every day.
Oh, cool. So very ideal, really.
Yeah.
Right, shall we try and do a little bit of a crawl then when we get back down to the front? Shall we just demonstrate what the slow speed's like? Because we always like finding that out, don't we? See what it's like.
Just crawling into the picture now.
There we go. And obviously you can't hear anything. That isn't the microphone. It really is completely dead silent. So, I mean, clearly later down the line we'll get some proper videos of her going nice and slow for you. But just to prove that she can, there you have it. And this has got the lights on it, right, hasn't it? You can just about see the tail lights, maybe, there.
Tail lights on, yeah, it should be. Yeah.
So there you have it. It's really, really quite an impressive thing, isn't it, that? Cool. Well, thanks for that. She runs. There you go. So obviously we want to demonstrate a little bit about the sound, so shall we go into that now?
Yeah.
It's time to move on. So what we've done is, because obviously sitting here in the stream we can't really do it justice up close, so we've pre-recorded a little bit of running. We've got some of the sound effects recorded from the loco. These are not sort of edited in, these are actually coming from the loco today. So I think we'll get this playing. Someone please let me know when we come back whether it's out of sync or not, because we think it's going to be. So let us know. But here we go then. There's a little bit of a break and a little bit of a running session, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that gives you a good chance to sort of give this thing a listen and see what it's like. And I've seen a comment, I forgot who said it, sorry, who said it's one of the best sounding logos I've ever heard. And I agree, the bass on it is just astonishingly good. Is it your own sort of speaker in there? Have you?
Yeah, we've got a special huge speaker inside it. It's what's called a passive radiator speaker, so it means it's got really, really good low end sounds, but it keeps the top end as well.
No,
so it gives a good range.
Yeah, I'd listen to music on that speaker.
Yeah.
Right, so we have a bit of a suspicion that we might be out of sync now, so we'll just have a listen. Right, it's a touch off, but I think it's not bad enough.
Yeah, it's good enough to
start again. So apologies, it's not our fault. We don't know why it happened. It's a bit of a pain in the neck. Right, so a bit of a recap. We've got Dave from Hatton's. He's got a fantastic new model that Hatton's are ready to bring out pretty soon. We've been running it, we've been talking a little bit about it, and now Dave's going to show us a little bit more about exactly how these things are made and all the different things that go into them. So, shall we get to that? Shall we?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Just getting this new camera set up. There we go. So, look at all of that lot. So Dave's going to talk us through a little bit about this. If you've got any questions, we'll answer them later on, or Dave will. So there we go.
What we've got here, we start off with the chassis block. So this is the main chassis block of the loco, so this is what everything else attaches to. So you can see in the centre here you've got a hole which is for the main motor with the flywheels either side and the holes for the gear towers. The channels are where the main drive shafts will go, so it drives to both bogies. And then you've got some channels for different wires and things like that. On the sides here you can see all the detail moulded on there. That's only some of the detail that goes on, that's the base of it. There's a lot more detail that goes on top of that. There's a lot of pipes, wire runs, everything like that that goes on top. Same on the other side, and both sides are different as on the real loco. These cutouts here, there's one on this side and two on this side. That's where your main grills will go, and that's for where there's going to be plastic moulded detail in there that goes in to represent what's behind the grills. So you can see through the grills because they're all etches, and you can see what's behind the grills as well.
That's so cool.
And it's very, very weighty.
It's actually unbelievable how heavy this thing is. I think we weighed it in a little bit earlier, and it was close to 525 grams, and that's just the chassis block.
That's just the chassis block.
No motor, no anything. So astonishing.
Yeah. And then we've got the 5 body shells here, which are the very basic body shells. So this is what you sort of build up from. But we need 5 to get all the different detail variations. So you've got your original one here, so it's got the original lights on it that were delivered to EWS, Freightliner and GBRF. And so you can see there it's a standard emission version, it's only got the 2 doors on both sides. Then the next one along, we've got the later headlights that were for DRS and Freightliner. And again, it's a standard emission one. Moving along, it's got the same headlights as the previous one, but it's now a low emission one. It's got the extra door here, the slightly larger cooler group, and everything on the sides of it. So they were more Freightliner ones, and they've gone to a lot of other operators now. Then we've got the BMAC headlights, which are the latest version of the headlights, and that's another low emissions version. And then the final version we've got here is actually the US built one. So all these 4 were built over in Canada. The last batch had to be built in America because there was no space at the Canadian factory. And there's a few slight differences. There's a seam across the front here, and the vents on the side of the cab have been moved down. They were at each end. Now they're diagonally opposite ends, and they are in a much lower position. It's just to help with vibrations, apparently.
So it's so involved just to be able to represent all of the different variations.
Exactly, and then you've got different things that are added on, so things like sandboxes, fuel tanks, things like that. They all change depending on which version it is.
Cool. So what have we got down here in front of the bodies then?
So in front of the bodies we've got some of the parts that are added on to the actual body shells to give you the finer details. It's pretty similar to as if you've ever done an Airfix kit or something like that. These are the bare sprues which you clip your items off and stick them on. That'll be done in the factory. So if you start over here, this is some of the details that go onto the underframes. You can see the very small pipe runs, things like that. Over here we've got some of the brake blocks, there's couplers, buffer shanks, footsteps. On this one, this is some of the interior details, so it's even things like the light boxes to go inside the loco to direct the light in the right places. Oops. Over here, almost, we've got silencer, the low emission fuel tank. Low emission fuel tank's different to the standard one, it's slightly smaller.
Goodness gracious.
That's one of the things to go behind the larger of the things. That's that grill there that goes behind it. That's where the main equipment room is.
Ah, yes.
And then over here we've got some of the suspension detail which goes inside the bogie. Then this is the bogie itself. So this is showing the bogie frames and exactly the detail that's on it, and it's the moulding for that alone is very, very complex. There's a lot of slides to go into it to get that. It's even got like end slides here, so you can see down into the bogie to see the dampers.
See if I can get up close on that.
Yeah.
I think we just about got it there.
Yeah. So that's very, very complex. And then I've got a cab which is being hand painted to show what the colours will be inside it.
Oh, very nice.
So that's a very simple version of what's going to be in there. Along the back wall here, there will also be a lot of printing to represent the doors, all of the cabinets, all of the safety signs that are so common in these cabs.
Gracious.
So even the cabs inside will look fantastic.
Incredible.
And obviously they'll just be, if you look inside here, those cabs will clip inside the end. So to get one out, take the body shell off, which is just clipped along these clips, and clip the cab out. Very simple.
Yeah.
Be able to put your crew in, clip it back in, clip the body shell on. You won't have to change the screw.
Cool. So for whoever it was asking about access, that's a big thumbs up. It's very easy to get inside there, it looks like.
Yeah.
So yeah, an awful lot of parts out here on the table. Is that everything?
No, far from it. There's a lot more that goes into these models than just this. There's hundreds upon hundreds of parts that go in to make each one.
Do you have an estimate roughly of how many parts go into this one?
Oh, it's got to be well over 500, I'd say.
Goodness me. So, to be honest, when you're buying this for 150 quid, whatever it is, you truly do get your money's worth with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the amount of work and the number of parts, and that's not mentioning the assembly of something like this. I mean, it blows the mind, really, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, thanks for that. I really like the cabs, by the way. The cabs look pretty exciting. It'd be great to see those printed out.
Yeah.
Right, that's awesome. Well, thank you for that. So, shall we take some more questions then? Because there were flooding in and we didn't get a chance to get to them all. So, anybody's got some more questions, do let us know. We'll take a look at the chat and see what everybody's saying. Everybody back. Obviously, at this point, we're a little bit behind, so we're not seeing exactly what people are saying. Hey Sam, can you buy Backman Thomas with sound? Come on, keep it relevant, Harrison. Right, will the cab painting feature different notices / instructions between the different liveries?
There's not a massive amount to see between the liveries. We are looking at getting detailed differences included in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try and keep it as livery specific as possible.
Okay, that's cool. Wordy 08 is quite an interesting one. Will you be doing a weathered version at any point?
Not at the moment. We're not doing any weathered versions of these ones, but there is something we do look at with probably future batches of them. With these being such a long life loco, we will look at in the future doing weathered versions.
That's something to look forward to for sure then. Do you get a discount if you buy one of each? Says Preservation 29.
Unfortunately not, no.
You don't need a discount if you can afford to buy one of each, put it that way. This is an interesting one for you. I think we've got this later on, but it's a personal one that everyone's been asking. So Dave, what's your favourite steam locomotive?
Favourite steam locomotive? Oh gosh, that's a difficult one. Favourite steam loco.
We didn't say steam earlier.
It's put me on the spot a bit, that one for a steam loco. I don't know, it's going to be a bit boring, but I like Black Fives.
That's a classic answer.
But I like small industrial steam locos as well. They seem a bit fun. I've had a play of a couple of them at East Lancs, and they're always, I think, a bit more fun, especially on preserve railways than big locos. You know.
Yeah, we can tell you like those.
Restricted to 25 miles an hour. There's not much you can do with a Black Five, even on 5 coaches. Whereas if you've got a Barclay or a little Manning Wardle or something like that on 3 or 4 coaches and up a nice hill, there's a lot more you can do with it.
Yeah, of course. Owens Railway, I think you might have addressed this already, but are all the wheels driven on the new 66?
Yeah, all axles are driven, yeah.
That's cool. Right, let's see. Oh, so I think you've already addressed this as well, but we'll ask just in case. Tornado 60163, are there any N-gauge items or rolling stock in the pipeline, anything like that?
Not at the moment, but that's not to say we're not going to do any. It's just finding the right projects. Again, if anyone has any ideas, feel free to send them to us. If you send an email to ideas@hattons.co.uk, then you can. We'll take a look at every single email that comes in, and everything's considered. So yeah, if you think you've got a great idea for a product in whatever gauge, just let us know.
That's cool. So Harrison, you're asking about a towed brake van. That's one for you. You can definitely submit that as an idea. Tudor Manhole's asking for a shout out. Will Hatton has been making any? Is that Irish locos or RSH locos?
RSH locos. RSH is another industrial manufacturer like Peckett or Andrew Barclay things. Not something we're looking at actually as a project at the moment. They have popped up in our things that we're looking at. So yeah, it's again just watch the space. See, it's nothing we're looking at too much at the moment, but it could be something we do in the future.
Oh, that's cool. It's something to look forward to anyway, if that ever comes to pass.
Yeah.
Callum, he's asking of the industrials, will there be any more Barclay liveries in the pipeline, maybe?
Possibly. It's one of them again. Watch this space.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Right, couple more then. Primeval. So, Dave, any steam locomotives you plan on making after the Class 66, following the success of the tank engines?
Again, it's going to be watch this space. Unfortunately, I can't reveal anything that we're working on. We are working on things, but I can't say what we're working on. Unfortunately,
that's fine. Trainline 5000, bit of a compatibility question. Where's it gone? He says, will other sound decoders work with this model, or just the one that you can buy that comes with the model?
Other sound decoders will work. It's fine. It's got a 21-pin socket in it. It will be set up for 6 functions with the lighting, so you'll have to have a 6-function compatible chip to be able to do it. Most sound chips will be able to do up to 4 at least.
Right.
So it might just be that your cab lights might not be able to be used if you've only got a 4 function rather than a 6. But any of them will make the sounds and make it run. Yeah,
that's cool. And presumably, though, it will be probably better value to buy everything together rather than to buy separate. But I guess you can if you want to. Right. Well, thank you very much for that. I have got some requests to run that some people were asking me for. So. We had Logan R wanted to see, let me show you here, he wanted to see the Backman, Duck and Oliver with some Great Western coaches and Toad. And then there was quite a few requests for some Elleny R double headers. We've got one for Mallard and Scotsman with Teaks from Nyrate Goal. And Sammy B Videography wanted to see, and also Marco 53 wanted to see Woolwinder and Booklaw. So I'm going to tie those together and we're going to get those running for you. Me and Dave are going to have a little bit of a breather while we let these run, and by all means, if there are any more questions after that, we'll be definitely happy to get to those. Alright, let's give this a try. So we've got, actually, to be honest with you, I've been a little bit sneaky here if I bring this into shot. I haven't got a Mallard on there, that's actually Gadwell, Mate 4 of course, but not quite Mallard. I've just picked that one because it's on DC, so it's a little bit more convenient. And then on the other inside line, I managed to get that just about right. We've got Oliver and Duck there with some Great Western coaches, the Toad, and perhaps a little visitor as well. So there you have it. Have a quick run with these, and then we'll get back to some more questions. So you're interested in Thomas then, Dave? You enjoyed seeing the little Thomas characters going around? Where are they? There we go.
There we go. Yeah, they're lovely. I like the fact that you got the backing ones, the slightly different to the ones with the moving eyes and things like that. They just add a little extra bit of interest into it.
Yeah, I mean, you were looking at the Oliver earlier, I noticed.
Yeah.
It's quite a cool little design on the Oliver, isn't it?
It is.
What with the moving eyes and everything, it's pretty impressive. Let's go down there. So thank you very much for these requests, by the way. These were requests left over from the last series of live streams, so we've managed to fit them in now just while we have a little bit of a breather. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can find the double header. Well, they're both double headers. There we go. Very different to the 66, of course.
Yeah.
Very different for today.
I'll have to try and do that in O-gauge sometime.
Oh yeah. Blimey. Right, let's bring these to a stop then. I'll take these back. Cool. We haven't got a proper mic set up on me today, so I'm going to have to hope that you guys can still hear me over there. Right, I'm going to speed up the other double header, get these in, and we'll get through some other questions. Come on. It's actually a bad time to try and stop these, because the Elleny have just gone by. There we go, cool. Okay, so there's quite a few more questions to get through. I've got some specific Dave questions, which are quite interesting. Some of them are Hatton's related though, so hopefully it'll be quite interesting. Right, you ready? You've recovered from the last grilling, more or less?
Just about.
Right, so we've covered this sort of, but we'll move away from the steam theme and ask for generally. So what is your favourite class of locomotive, asks Banana Train and Courtney F.
Favourite class, this is a bit easier, so it's going to be the 47. It's what I grew up behind. So when I was younger, I was chasing like cross-country trains and West Coast diversions when the West Coast was closed for all the upgrades. So that was what was hauling all of those. So that's my favourite. Although I do have a soft spot for all the Western hydraulics, the 14s, Hymex, Westerns, warships, because I work with them at East Lancs and like the engineering side on them. So never got to see them on the main line, but they are my favourite sort of class to be behind. But 47s are definitely my favourite general class.
That's awesome. Thank you very much to William Tam for the super chat. He says, will you be making any Manning Wardles?
It falls into the same as the RSHs and everything. It's all industrials we keep looking at, but there's no plans at the moment.
Can't get anything out of him on this. Right, so Naito the Steam Fan asks quite an interesting question. So he says, do you enjoy working at Hatton's and do you still get the model railway shop buzz?
Yeah, of course I enjoy working at Hatton's. It's the sort of being able to make models as a job is sort of, if you're into models, it is the dream. But yeah, the model railway buzz is I still get it when I walk into our model shop and other model shops. It's sort of that what you're going to see today sort of thing, especially when you walk into another model shop and sort of rummage around and see what you can find.
Okay, cool. So on to some of the other Hatton's exclusive projects then. Sodor Arts Productions wants to know, he's seen the O-Gauge A3 and A4 project on the website, just wanted to know how is it coming along and are there going to be any more O-Gauge models in the future?
The O-Gauge A3 and A4 are going really well. We showed them off at Telford at the weekend and there was a lot of good feedback from people there. So yeah, that's gone really well. The same with the teaks. We're hoping to have some colour samples fairly soon on them, which will show them off nicely. And as for other O-Gauge projects, again, it's stuff we're looking at, but nothing we can reveal at the moment. Okay, that's fine. And JKL on top of that, has any idea of the release date for the O-Gauge steamers? Yeah, they'll be released around the same time as the 66 in around March next year.
Okay, cool. So here's quite an interesting one from Graham A. He says, have you ever considered producing any foreign locos? And I think he's from Finland, so he's wondering about any potentially Finnish engines?
It's not something we've looked at now. I mean, there's plenty to do in the UK, so it's not something we've really thought of. And I mean, I like Swiss stuff, but it's not something that we've ever sort of thought of because obviously our expertise are within the UK.
Yeah,
but
course, yeah.
It's again not to say that if something came up and we thought that would be a really good idea, we could do that. We wouldn't say no to. It's not something we'd say no to. It's just we've not come that far down the production line to.
So yeah, stick to what you know.
Exactly.
Never say never, I guess. Yeah. All right. So Primeval, I think we can all guess what the answer to this might be given this stream. But what's the best aspect of working at Hatton's?
the ability to make models and the ability to work with them every day.
And you're clearly very enthusiastic about it, which is obviously a given. I think that's where the best models come from, I guess. Yeah. If you're enthusiastic. And finally then, from the list at least, the Loco Lover, quite simple. How long have you worked at Hatton's?
I've been at Hatton's 15 years.
Wow.
Started when I was 16.
Gosh, it's a long time.
Yeah, started when I was 16, packing parcels back in the old shop.
Oh really? Start right at the bottom?
Right at the bottom, yeah. I've moved up from there.
Wow.
Done practically every job in between. And, now I'm in charge of producing the models for them. So
you're where you want to be, I guess, now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Right, well, let's see if anybody's got any other questions. Was there anything else that you wanted to drop in, maybe, that we haven't covered, or do you think we've pretty much said it all?
I think we've pretty much covered all of it. Just if you want to pre-order one, the hattons.co.uk/66.
Ah, yes. Again, we forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah, I think we did. But
we've got it in the description, at least. So, yeah, there we go. Right, let's have a look. Does the cab have interior lighting, and if so, can we see it? Says RBX Trains.
It does have interior lighting, but unfortunately this sample hasn't got it working on it at the moment.
Alright, but that's definitely something.
It is going to be on the production models.
Alright, that's cool. Will you be doing something from the county of Somerset? I'm not too sure, that's a bit vague, I suppose. Alright, Mallard the Duck, how did you get a job at Hatton's? That's interesting for any future Hatton's employees.
I actually did my work experience at Hatton's when about a year before I started there.
Okay.
And then applied for a job as a packer. Just as soon as I was 16, doing part-time when I was doing my A-levels, and then as soon as I left sixth form, started working there full-time.
Oh, cool. That's very cool. Tagart00 also wants to know, what do you do at the East Lancs, just out of curiosity?
I don't just anywhere near as much as I used to, but it's in the diesel department,
cool.
helping maintain the diesels there.
Alright, cool. Right, I think that's basically about it. So thank you very much to everybody who's watched. Thank you everybody who's contributed in the chat, and even if you sent a question a week ago.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. It's been great to answer some very interesting questions.
Very
actually.
interesting,
So
yeah, it's been great.
Thank you very much for those. And thank you, Dave. I do appreciate you coming down with the brand new 66. This is just a painted sample, right? It's just sort of hand-finished. Given how good that looks, we can only imagine what the final product's going to look like, which is very exciting, I'm sure. So
definitely, we should have colour samples fairly soon. So
okay.
So we'll be sure to
I guess,
keep everyone updated.
Yeah. So again, the link in the description, hattons.co.uk/66. I guess they'll be on there as soon as they can be. Yeah. So that'll be awesome. Right. Well, I think that's just about it. Hope you've enjoyed it, everybody. It's something very, very different. We'll have to try and coax you into coming here again.
Definitely.
If there's, any other projects?
I think it needs coaxing.
Right. Well, once again, cheers everybody. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Oh, I better tell you what's coming up. On Saturday, I've got quite an exciting running session for you, hopefully. I've got some of my tiniest little tank engines. Not necessarily tank engines, but just smallest engines I've got in my collection. Hopefully that will make for a nice video.
Like Andrew Barclays and things like that.
Oh, they might make an appearance. We'll have to wait and see about that. Monday there's a vintage diesel review coming out, and then Wednesday I've got a special video that I tend to do every single year, so that's going to be coming Wednesday. Some of you might know what that is. If not, hopefully you'll enjoy it. But anyway, that's it. Thank you very much, Dave. It's been lovely having you here. Thanks for answering all the questions. Sorry about the grilling.
It's fine.
All right, cheers everybody. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of this series of live streams. It's been such a fantastic time, and I just wanted to thank every single one of you for tuning in every week to join me. I am hoping to make another series of Sam's Trains live, so I do hope you'll all join me for that, of course. But for now, thanks again to everyone for all your support, and I will see you very soon with some more brand new videos. Cheers everybody!